Well, thank you all for joining us for our CELC webinar series. It's supported by the State Energy Conservation Office, the Houston Advanced Research Center, and of course, SPEAR. So a few announcements before we get into our presentation. We are not offering continuing education units today because it's just going to be an overview, just our annual update. But we will have several webinars happening this month and also in the future. So please check out our events page on eepartnership.org to see what's available to get your continuing education units. And we offer those for free. So it's a great way to get them, especially for your ICC for your code certification. What you see is we also have a question and answer. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to throw them in. And then also, as well as we have a chat box. So those of you who aren't familiar, it's going to be on the bottom of your screen along the menu. It'll say chat box. And then for questions, you just hit that little click on that where it says Q&A. So we'll answer all the questions at the end, generally, unless Liz sees something that she'd like to discuss while we're moving through. So questions are always welcome. Presentations will be posted on our website, again, eepartnership.org, and also on our SPEAR YouTube channel. And then a survey will be provided and a follow-up email within 3 days. And if this was offering ICC CEUs, they'd be mailed out within 3 days. But again, we're not offering that today. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And I'll kind of let Liz take over here.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Liz John, Managing Director for SPEAR, and I'll introduce myself on the next slide. But for those of you who are familiar with CELC, in the past, it has been the City Efficiency Leadership Council. We are still moving forward and, working with CELC, we are just rebranding it. So it is kind of an arm under SPEAR's local government program. And it was a bit misleading with it having city in the title. And so we have rebranded it to Community Efficiency Leadership Coalition. This is to be more, expansive and inclusive for universities, all municipalities, schools, large cities, small cities, and the state as well, with SECO funding this coalition. So if you see the new words, don't be alarmed, it's the same thing. And I am sure that almost all of you are familiar with Sean, as she has done a great job of really getting out and getting involved with communities around Texas and even in Oklahoma. I manage all of our programs and initiatives with SPEAR, really just make sure that, behind the scenes, everything is running smoothly. I've been with SPEAR since 2015. And I, make sure that we have the required deliverables to achieve success and sustainability and push efficiency forward in our region, as well as manage the National Building Operator Certification Program. And we will also touch on that later in this presentation. And in the meantime, we will send out some resources following this. I am looking for a few grants to send out with that I think would be very good for public entities to possibly look into and apply for. For those of you who are not familiar with SPEAR, we are one of 6 regional energy efficiency organizations in the country. Every state is a part of one, except for, if you can guess it, California is kind of their own bear. Obviously, our territory is Texas and Oklahoma, and really we just work on driving efficiency initiatives forward for, to improve our environment, lower consumers' energy, electricity bills, which, everyone has experienced increased costs, especially following Uri. We have a number of ways that we do this. We do this through adopting stronger building codes. We will come to your city and train your code officials, third-party raters, builders. If you're interested in that, we policy, we educate policy staffers and lawmakers on reasons that efficiency adoption is the cheapest option and most viable option. And then, of course, Sean's local governments program. We are also, I should mention, we are a nonprofit, a member-based organization. CELC does have many benefits to its free membership, but if you would like to join SPEAR, it is only $250 a year, very, very low. And we have a lot of really great member-only benefits. So if you're interested in learning more, please visit our website or feel free to ping Sean or myself.
And Liz, is that low membership cost, is that just for local governments or for all organizations?
Yes, just for local governments, public entities,
Thanks.
but they aren't very expensive otherwise as well.
Okay, thank you. So here's a kind of an overview. I'll go through all these. I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading this, but we'll just talk about upcoming CLC programs, SPEAR's current focus, and then kind of wrap up next steps. But first, let's go with what's going on, what's happened this past year in 2023. I can't believe it's already been a few months in 2024. First, let me take a step back and talk about the Community Efficiency Leadership Coalition. Those of you who are on the webinar and who aren't familiar with it, the purpose of it is to align regional partner initiatives and leverage regional resources and share best practices, provide networking, capacity building opportunities, identify funding opportunities for projects, as well as provide mentorship, and then and collaborate as a group on regional sustainability projects and initiatives. From my work previously, I was at Travis County for a decade. The greatest resource that we have are really other local governments and understanding what their lessons learned are, as well as leaning on each other where we need support. And when I was at Travis County, we had so many different collaborative efforts between different organizations, and that's how we really move the needle forward for our programs. All of us know that you can't be the only one who moves that boulder up the hill. It's really great to have a group, a community there with you. So here we are, 2023, a year in review by the stats. So SPEAR as an organization, we really serve 22,590,893 residents in non-attainment regions through our energy reporting program. Really, that's 70% of the population in the state of Texas that live in non-attainment regions. And SPEAR as an agency, through our energy reporting program, we provide technical assistance. Doesn't matter how large of an agency you are, how large of a city. I've assisted with some cities that only had maybe 3 buildings in a town of 20. Because they were in the non-attainment region, they were required to report to the State Energy Conservation Office on their consumption of energy, as well as the total square footage of air-conditioned space. I've put on several workshops throughout the year to assist local governments on how to pull together all the information and data required for that energy report, as well as just helping them look at the data and organize that. So we have several resources for that energy report on our website. We've also had over 276 agencies and local governments participate and engage in our events this past year, which was pretty exciting. I mean, when you think about the state of Texas, where we have 254 counties, and there's so much going on, I was pretty excited to have that kind of return. And then the Community Efficiency Leadership Coalition, our newsletter, our mailing list has an average open rate over 45%, which is Pretty exciting. So, those of you who aren't familiar, we have a newsletter that is sent out monthly, the second Tuesday of the month, generally. And in that is really a showcase of what's going on across the state regarding grants. Uh, I also like to highlight a community, the CLC members, and what they have achieved and give them recognition. As many people understand and know, with projects that come out like such as like a climate action plan, it takes a long time to put that together. So I think it really deserves to give recognition to local governments and cities, to say, hey, this is what we've done recently. It got passed through city council. Or for a great example is the Austin Independent School District. They just received a federal grant for their fleet, their bus system, to have more electric buses. It takes a lot of work to put together all the information required for these grants, and so we utilize this newsletter to give recognition and share the information, so other people can learn what they did and what their process was like, and you know who to reach out to and saying, hey, I'm interested in learning more about grants for electric buses, or I'm interested in learning more about grants for solar. That kind of information is in the newsletter, as well as just what we're reading, what's going on in the state, and webinars. I put a lot of webinars that are being put on by the federal government, as well as Spear-led webinars and our CLC webinars, as well as code and code training. And then, as I stated earlier about how we've served so many residents in non-attainment regions, also there's been a 39% increase in energy reporting participation across the state from various agencies. So that's pretty exciting. And then we have again, our YouTube channel with resources. And our highest viewed CLC webinar was Lone Star and SECO local government program updates, which is that was last year, and it was about 683 views. So I thought that was pretty exciting. Um, Now, really the basis of CLC is our training and education. And we put together several webinars throughout the year. Last year was about 12, and we had over 449 attendees, and 54%, so half of them worked directly with a city government. 16%, so we have quite a few attendees are from the private industry, consultants, real estate, and finance. And I think that's fantastic because they're listening in to wanting to have a better understanding of local governments and what their needs are. And then about 10% are nonprofits. And very often, right, we work with third-party groups to help implement programs. So a lot of times these are the nonprofits who are attending these events to learn more. And the topics range from air quality related to energy efficiency to plug load management. Uh, so some of them are very directly with energy efficiency, and then a little bit we kind of focus on data, or what we can do for energy equity. Liz, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I've been just plugging some stuff in the chat that we can also follow up with some resources for those that, weren't able to join or when we post it on YouTube.
I did want to highlight the CLC. We have a short little membership form that people fill out. And the only thing that we really do ask, it's free to join and you get several benefits from it. You can feel free to check out our website to see all the different benefits. But I do want to highlight those who have been participating. We do put their logos on our webpage. And then we also move it further and having collaborative efforts and partnerships. We've partnered with Austin Energy on a training program. They've been very active in a program that I'll talk more about in the next slide. But and also with the sustainability department, we've worked with them quite a bit with their CRPG grant. And then we've provided several letters of support to universities and cities for their grant proposals. And And what does that look like, right? So several local governments, generally speaking, with the new requirements, especially with Justice 40, uh, the federal government's requesting for a nonprofit agency to assist as well and work as well as community-based organizations and private industry. And so we're happy to support where we have the capacity to help, and it's a good alignment. But several local governments reach out to us and say, well, here we need assistance with an energy plan. We really look at, does this a good alignment? Can we support this? And then provide a letter of support and then come back around whenever that grant has been accepted and provide support through in kind or through a partnership. And then we also have a role of community engagement and shared goals. We've supported the North Central Texas Council of Government several times in workshops and facilitating workshops for energy reporting as well. We've also assisted the Alamo Area Council of Government with a facilitation of energy reporting workshops and then provided technical assistance in regions. With some of our local our agencies, we've also provided just kind of taking a step back and assisting them with some brainstorming sessions on where they can also assist their local governments with grant opportunities or what's coming up next with the State Energy Conservation Office. So we're actively pursuing partnerships and collaboration to advance our mission, but also a shared mission in sustainability and environmental stewardship. Um, and we've also played a pivotal role in supporting various universities by supporting them with energy code trainings. And so we really recognize the crucial role of community engagement. Um, And overall, our collaborations and partnerships underscores our commitment to fostering environmental stewardship and building community resilience and achieving shared sustainability goals through inclusive and participatory approaches. And I'll talk more about that through our upcoming projects. Liz, is there anything else you want to talk about with our collaborative efforts and partnerships?
Um, did you want to mention maybe something about our current USGPC initiative that we're working on, or did you touch on the resilience cohort?
You know what? I actually didn't touch on the resilience cohort, but it's a good segue to our next slide on upcoming projects. And
Okay.
I'll just chat then about our resilience cohort as well. Um, right now, our upcoming projects and currently we have going on is our local government training working group. It started last year, really to address the high turnover from COVID, a lot of local governments not having staff or designated staff to do this type of work, or the staff not having the skills and knowledge related to energy management. So we started working on a Sustainability 101 training. Um, our working group is committed to collaborating on training materials, designing the training, and then the organizations that are a part of this working group, they get to pilot the demo. And it's pretty exciting. The training that we're going to create will provide an in-depth information on what's essential for a workplace, like base knowledge, understanding sustainability. What does that mean? Recycling, environmental preferred purchasing policies, energy code. How are all those items incorporated, as well as touching on federal and state regulations. And then the training is going to be created with scalability in mind for other local governments as well. It doesn't matter what size community that you work in. Yeah, and so we're pretty excited about that one. really kind of comes down to ultimately better trained local government officials can lead to more streamlined, effective governance and resulting in improved resource management and reduced environmental impact and overall enhanced community sustainability. So the bottom line is providing an opportunity for management to take a step back and have them get the space, just a snapshot, but give them a good direction on where they should go next with training when they kind of someone comes in new to the workforce or into that space. We're also excited because there's been mention of like partnering with universities on this training group. We also are working with USGBC National. We have a policy project. We're initiating a policy project to advance green building initiatives within cities nationwide. It's generously funded by the USGBC National, as well as we are one of the subcontractors with the Houston Advanced Research Center. And we're gathering data so that we can get valuable insights from cities like yours to enhance sustainable development efforts. So we're pretty excited about that, and that's just now starting, as well as um, working on the retrofit weatherization program. It's a $2.5 million grant from the Department of Energy. SPEAR is one of the partners in the project with the Houston Advanced Research Center as the prime. And what the project is the title is kind of preparing the front lines for a climate future through holistic weatherization. It's an innovative approach by actively engaging community members to identify problems and then develop solutions for weatherization throughout the communities to lead greater resilience. So having a weatherized home, so greater resilience against future climate change impacts. It's a 3-year program. It's beginning in, and it's already begun in Harris County, and eventually it will scale to communities in Travis County. So right now we are, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, we're in the first year of the program. So right now it's already set up and established protocols for co-production. We have kind of putting together the climate proof training, and then also looking at retrofitting the technology options. Then coming up in the second year, we'll focus on implementation. So implementing weatherization uh, into homes. We'll first start, of course, in Harris County. And what they do is being able to retrofit the homes so then that you can incorporate the weatherization process. What you find sometimes is before someone can actually have their application approved for weatherization, so insulation in their attic, but say they have an infestation, first you have to take care of the infestation to then be able to put in new insulation in the home. So what has been a problem in the past is a community member will apply for the program, but will be limited because they have other issues in the home to have to address before they can actually have weatherization. So very excited. It provides resources to support initiatives that can really have a lasting impact on the community efficiency and sustainability. And then, of course, is the resilience cohort. Thanks for reminding me, Liz. Very excited about that. We have around 21 different local government agencies that are participating, and it's about what a 5-month long cohort where you go through the process of putting together a risk assessment on resilience for your community. And Spear is a partner in funding this cohort, and we have ICLEI who is leading the project. Is there anything else to add to that one?
I don't think so. We can maybe send out some of those resources after the cohort wraps individually just to help, and maybe do like a webinar high level webinar on how other folks can adopt some of the resiliency changes that these cities are implementing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I'm so glad you mentioned something for the local governments. We are looking for local governments to participate in the USGBC National Policy Project. There's a specific criteria that we have, but if you're interested in participating, please reach out to us. There's several value benefits as a participant. And we'll also be showcasing a panel at the Spears annual workshop in September, really looking at policy across the state of Texas and what we found, what our findings were from the project and the data gathering. So with that, CLC events coming up in the future. This is just a snapshot. We have events planned out all the way up till August. So please look at our events page on eepartnership.org. But coming up, we have a coffee hour if you're a CLC member. And again, it's free to join. If you're a CLC member, I will notify you. You can join us for our monthly coffee hour, just sitting there and networking virtually. Hopefully we'll have at least one or two that will be in person this year, but it's been pretty fun. A lot of very supportive environment of listening to other local governments and listening to each other and saying, well, what are you working on? How can I support you on this? Or here's some resources to support you on this project that you're implementing. That's pretty great, our last meeting. And then we have a Department of Energy webinar, Empowering Investments in Clean Energy, the Tax Benefits. It's a pretty exciting new program that they have, and you can hear more about it on the 28th of March. So really next week. And then starting in April, we're going to be showcasing April. We're just focusing all on schools and moving the future forward by educating our youth. And I'm pretty excited about this one. It's with Austin Energy talking about their program that they have, Energy All Stars. And also, again, all of our webinars are, let me rephrase that. Most of our webinars are posted on our Sphere YouTube channel, and we have over 1,000 subscribers at this time. So now we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to hand it over to Liz to talk about the Building Operator Certification Program.
Great, thank you. I had mentioned this a little bit before whenever we got started at the beginning. The BOC program is a national program. Spear has the license to run it in Texas and Oklahoma. The majority of folks that we have participate in this program are universities or city personnel. And that is because there is room for drastic savings in these, larger commercial buildings. Most of these buildings can reduce their energy use anywhere between 5 to even 30% while fully maintaining or improving their function and comfort. And, simple operations and maintenance best practices can reduce annual utility bills by, on average, anywhere from 10 to 20%. We had a third party implementer come in and kind of review the savings from this training program, and they found that on average, each graduate saved their facility $10,000 in utility bills for up to 5 years, which is a lot of money. And the majority of these changes and I would say upgrades, but not upgrades, are really behavioral changes. They're not really coming in and saying you need to replace your HVAC system and redo all of your lighting. It's really just focusing on the simple low-hanging fruit of energy efficiency that can improve these buildings, helping them understand and read the utility bills and where they can improve that. And it's a full building scope from HVAC maintenance to lighting to automation and controls. And as more of these devices and sensors and things are coming to the market, it's really great, but there's really no value in it if you have a smart building, but you're not optimizing it or fully know how to run these buildings efficiently. So they're great for schools, universities, local and state governments. I'm happy to throw a link in this chat for you all to read a little bit more about the program. There's an informational flyer, and it kind of breaks down the 7 classes and what you'll dive deeper into with all of this. And I know that there's a lot of federal funding coming in to cover a lot of these workforce initiatives and trainings. And so we are working with state agencies, universities, private folks as well to help find some grants to hopefully be able to offer this at a lower rate than we would ordinarily be able to do so. And I will throw in the link right here in the chat to our website. Okay, and I will also address some of our legislative initiatives. Of course, you know, I would say the majority of individuals or folks in Texas didn't necessarily know what the PUC, the Public Utility Commission, or ERCOT was prior to Uri. And of course, I would say almost everyone knows who they are now. We are a 501c3, so we cannot lobby, but we do have a heavy hand in providing education materials to these legislative staffers, legislative folks, you know, lawmakers going in there who might not ordinarily know how the energy market works, or why we need to adopt more efficiency, you know, standards. Texas has the most, it's the state with the highest amount of energy savings available. But yet I think we're, you know, ranked number 36 or so out of all of the states with an energy efficiency resource standard, although we were the first to adopt one many years ago. And so our policy arm just really keeps track of the bills that are going through session in both Texas and Oklahoma. Whenever we are in session, we have trackers on our website. We have our priorities, and then also kind of break it down into layman's terms as to, you know, if this bill passes, what does it mean and how would it affect individuals, you know, everyday Texans, consumers, or state buildings, cities, things like that. And then, of course, after Uri, you know, there were a slew of bills aimed to increase the reliability of our electric grid. And we have made some positive and progressive steps. There is definitely, in my opinion, still a long way to go. So we are prepared for a session that will be just around the corner, it feels like, in January. And there's I will also put our policy page in the chat as well, if you would like to kind of familiarize yourself with that or see how, you know, Spear can help you as session approaches.
We'll be providing this presentation, so all the items that Liz has put in the chat, I also have right here. So our templates and messaging guides for policy. We also have a Texas Energy Adoption Toolkit that's pretty fantastic. So if you're interested in energy code and furthering that, there's several funding opportunities to further energy code in communities. So that's a great tool to utilize. And then we have the City Efficiency Toolkit. It is a huge resource and very in-depth on different tools in cities with case studies on furthering energy efficiency. If that's looking at your municipal pool and what you can do for energy efficiency in that aspect, to looking at case studies and demonstrating the importance and with the data on upgrading your lighting system to LEDs. I know that a lot of agencies have already done that, but here's a great resource to utilize if you're going to apply for any upcoming grants, the State Energy Conservation Office. We also have the local government reporting guide. So if you are one of those communities that are in the non-attainment, one of the 41, this reporting guide is pretty fantastic. It has an FAQ as well as an Excel spreadsheet you can download and use as a good start for gathering your information. from your agency on your energy consumption. And then we have our YouTube channel, over 167 videos. We very exciting. We just came over to, I think, 1,800 subscribers. Very excited about that. So these are all our additional resources if you want to do a deeper dive and looking at energy with that lens. I'll give some closing remarks. Again, this is just a snapshot on all the work we've been doing and performed in 2023. And we really appreciate that you took the time to kind of learn more about what's going on with our organization and how CLC supports local governments. We really feel like the coalition's played a significant role in promoting sustainable practices through various efforts, and I'll kind of go through that. Um, so here's a quick recap. Through energy reporting support, again, we provide assistance to organizations in accurately reporting their energy usage. We do that through providing some reporting mechanisms and then providing them organizations ways to track their energy consumption through templates and guidance. And then we help identify areas for improvement, direction to different opportunities to the State Energy Conservation Office for third-party vendors to come and do preliminary energy assessments. And then also you can look at different ways through energy efficiency to implement strategies to reduce your carbon footprint. And this past year, again, we had a 39% increase in energy reporting participation. Also, through technical assistance, we provide technical assistance through different local governments seeking to adopt sustainable practices. Even if your organization is pretty familiar with it, there's always so much covered under this umbrella of sustainable that there's different ways that we can support you. Again, that's through trainings. Such as what Liz discussed through our building operator certification program, or even our energy code training program. And then through recommendation and through workshops like with heat pump for energy efficient technologies, and then providing guidance on benchmarking, which is really important. So understanding your operational cost, and then how can you do a cost savings through energy efficiency mechanisms to decrease your operational overhead. And then by leveraging technical knowledge, um, we have several people within our organization. They're just such a great resource to really provide to local governments and assisting them to further overall mission. And then we have, again, our training. We're pretty well known for that. And so, with that being on YouTube, there's a substantial number of resources. If you ask me, do you have a training on this? I can probably find it with a quick search and say, yes, here you go. Here is a training that we've provided in the past. So we've covered so many different topics in the past with all our different trainings that we really can support you and furthering your knowledge. And then again, with workshop and events, we've had over 76 agencies participate with our workshops and seminars. And if you have an interest in having us come out to do a presentation, we're happy to do that, or even facilitate events. I have facilitated events on resilience and the importance of having code within furthering resilience and energy efficiency. Uh, so there's all different kinds of workshops we're happy to support you in. And then again, with grant support, we have several partnerships through letters of support and collaborations with local governments and universities, cities. And when I say local governments, it's universities, cities, and counties and state agencies. I haven't listed, I'm not going to name all of them, mainly because right now they're under that process, right? They have applied for the grant, we're ready, waiting for their response. But We have a couple universities that we've worked, one particular one in Oklahoma, that we support, and we've worked with several in the portfolio of Texas A&M. Again, these grants, they may fund research, development efforts, pilot programs for testing new technologies or trainings, or implementation projects aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions. But that's generally like for exploring weatherization programs, such as our project with HARC. Um, so by offering technical assistance and partnership, we encourage organizations to embrace sustainability. It's really kind of as a core business principle, really putting into the infrastructure and then creating a meaningful change. So very happy to be supporting all those things. And in the end, if you want to connect with us, there are different ways you can connect through Facebook, as well as X, and through our newsletters, email, and our YouTube channel. And there is my contact information. Again, my name is Sean Auckland. I am the local government program manager, and um, again, we're rebranding, so it seems as though, as you can tell, I need to capture all those aspects. The rebranding for the CELC, I'm very excited about moving that forward. Uh, and again, I also want to mention our partners, the City Efficiency Leadership, the webinar series. It's supported by State Energy Conservation Office and the Houston Advanced Research Center, as well as Spear. Before we close, I just want to say thanks again for your time. Anything you want to add there, Liz?
I don't think so. Yeah, thank you for hearing what Spear is doing, and likewise, we would like to know how we can assist you, your, municipality, city, county in any way. If you need help, writing grants or finding resources, Sean mentioned there's plenty of those. And again, we'd love to highlight any aspects or projects that you're working on our social media channels or in our newsletters as well.